It's been a while since we've talked about how to make an ex miss you. So I figured that's what we'd talk about today. And I'd show you the one thing that you can do that can dramatically improve your odds of making this happen. But first, let's dig in deep into sort of a miniature timeline of when we noticed most exes began missing you. One of the things that we've learned, especially since we've started really studying attachment styles and their impact on breakups, is that a lot of the times your experience of a breakup is going to be vastly different than your ex's experience with the breakup. And there's usually one particular reason that that's the case. Usually it's because your attachment style is different than your ex's attachment style. We notice that most of our clients tend to have anxious attachment style tendencies. They're the ones who are going to beg for their exes back, get on their hands and knees pleading for them to come back, and usually it blows up in their faces. They're the ones who value relationships almost a little too highly, so much so that they don't really think of themselves or taking care of themselves first. Now, on the other hand, their exes are the exact opposite. Their exes value independence so much that when they feel that someone is threatening that independence, they leave. We call this also avoidant attachment styles. So perhaps one of the most mind-blowing things that I can teach you in this video is that someone with an avoidant attachment style is not going to miss you at all until they feel you have completely moved on. Only then will they allow themselves to feel the nostalgia of a broken relationship. Only then will they look back on the relationship and remember the good times. And to make matters more complicated, usually if you don't do anything about your own particular anxious tendencies, even if you don't have an anxious attachment style, if you appear anxious to someone with avoidant tendencies, you are going to do nothing but harm yourself because they're not going to be remembering the good times that you want them to remember. They're not going to be missing the good times at all. They're just going to be reinforced with the fact that she's still the same or he's still the same. They haven't changed at all. There they are again, trying to destroy my independence. I don't want this, and they further retreat back into their shell. So you would think that the key to making someone miss you would be for you to get over them, but it's usually not that simple. Usually when I plan these videos out, I do a lot of research. And usually I always try to bring some type of scientific basis to anything that I'm going to say. Some type of proof to back up that what I'm saying works, or some type of research that shows this is how nostalgia and missing an ex occurs. And what's interesting is I actually stumbled across this doctor's comment on a forum. It was one of these forums that people ask a question, and I think the question was something along the lines of, hey, what is the psychology of someone who misses you? How does that work internally? And a doctor actually responded, and she had to say this really interesting comment. With love and affection, there's evidence that the oxytocin we receive from a relationship can be very addictive, and it takes time for a separated pair, family, or child to find another source to learn to live without this immediate supply. Now, I found that comment extremely intriguing because it almost is a direct opposite of what I've just told you about attachment styles. With attachment styles, if your ex has an avoidant one, only after you have moved on will they begin to miss you. With this comment, this doctor is literally sitting there and saying that almost immediately after a breakup occurs between two individuals, they have both a hard time of getting over it. So where is the truth? Well, I think the truth lies somewhere in between both of these concepts. I have definitely seen that a lot of times it can take exes a little bit more time to miss you than you would expect. But at the same time, it really depends on their type of attachment style. So what this doctor is basically saying is that every single person, no matter their attachment style, will miss you at some point. It's just based on different individualistic experiences. So someone with an avoidant attachment style is naturally going to take longer to miss you than someone with an anxious attachment style. Someone with a secure attachment style is going to miss you and then get over you a little bit quicker because they understand they have the fortitude to live without you. And this leads me to the big point that I'm trying to make. If there's one thing I could tell you that will instantly improve your odds of making your ex miss you, it would be this. You need to learn to live without your ex before you talk to your ex. We've actually seen this a lot with our different success stories that I interview for this YouTube channel. Almost always the common theme we see amongst them is they got to this place emotionally where they didn't care if they got their ex back or not. They wanted their ex back, but they had confronted the reality that they may not get them back, and they were okay with it. Getting to that place emotionally before you talk to your ex and try to make them miss you is going to do so much for you, because it kind of hits all of the things that you need to have hit for an ex to have nostalgia. Number one, in order to get to this place, guess what? You have to get over your ex, or at least confront the reality you may never get them back. And believe me when I say your ex will pick up on this, because they're gonna realize, hey, they're not the center of your world anymore. So often when we have clients come to us who want their exes back, when we talk to them, we realize that their whole life is built around this one individual. And really the key is teaching those individuals to stop putting their ex first and put themselves first. Your ex should not be your number one priority. They should be your number 2, 3, 4, 5 priority. Your life needs to be a lot more all-encompassing so that you have things that you care about just as much as your ex. And if you can do that, if you can get to a place emotionally where you are fine without them, where you have other priorities that you are just as passionate about, by the time you actually talk to your ex, especially if your ex has avoidant tendencies, this can trigger them to remember some of the best times of your past relationship. This can help make them miss you. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is going to be really hard for you to hear, but it's without a doubt the truth. With YouTube videos like this, oftentimes our goal is to get you to click and watch and agree with our message. The problem is I'm just a straight shooter, so I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. The key to your success should not be trying to get your ex back. It should not be trying to make your ex miss you, because if you want my advice, the truth is making your ex miss you is only one small piece of a much larger overall puzzle. The key always you should have, the goal you should have in mind when you embark on this process if you want to get your ex back, is to create a new and better relationship with them. And in order to do that, you need to get yourself right first. So one of the reasons that we recommend no contact periods isn't only all of the missing psychological benefits that it can have, it's also to give you time to get to this headspace that I continue going on and on about. Watch my last 20 videos on this YouTube channel. In almost every single one, I allude to this concept that I'm talking about right now. Get to a place where you are willing to outgrow your ex before you talk to your ex.